Welcome to the weirdest yet greatest Ratatouille spin-off, where Remy, instead of landing under a 5-star restaurant in France, ended up somewhere even worse, an Australian Junkrat. If you didn't get the joke, don't worry, because today we are going to talk JK. Get it? That's short for Junkrat, and JK stands for just kidding too. If you had troubles understanding that, just in case you didn't... never mind. Last time we reviewed our robotic friend Bastion, so there is no smoother transition than going from his old artillery form to pure junk and garbage, since there is practically no difference. I recommend checking out that video later, as it's pretty heckin' good too. So, Junkrat, why him of all other heroes available in the game? Why? You see, I originally wanted to talk about Roadhog, but this guy has been milked so much before over here that I just couldn't push myself into bullying him even more. And it just so happens that whenever you want to look up information about the hog, not only you see things you wish you could unsee, but there is also this clown of a hero that always comes up somewhere along. So might as well target him instead of the Town Kench of Overwatch. Okay, targeting is kind of an overstatement, because big shock and surprise, I like this guy, but that doesn't mean I'll go gay for him and fiddle his balls around to entertain the insane Junkrat mains community. And trust me, you don't want to piss off these psychopaths, as they are far from being the closest thing to a human being. Overall, a banana is more human than any DPS main. Alrighty, now that I managed to upset over 30% of the entire Overwatch community, let's begin our Junkrat review! And where do we look exactly to start? Story! Junkrat is part of the most iconic duo in the game. Don't believe me? Here are the totally not rigged results of my own research. And by research, I mean asking the smartest, most intelligent and most handsome people on this planet. My subscribers. As you can clearly see, nobody likes Farah. Good. You guys know how to make me proud. What he and his partner Roadhog are known for is following the infamous TikTok trend. These two are the masters of the devious lick challenge. You trying to impress someone by getting a sink or a microscope from your school? How about you try to get some beautiful woman instead? In short, they are politics. I mean, thieves. They take whatever they want from anywhere they want and somehow never get caught. Because every universe that isn't our real life equivalent doesn't have such thing as the police department. To those 2 or 3 viewers watching from places that don't have any kind of police in the region, don't worry, at least you don't have the legendary Polish police. Our friendly arsonist is described as a crazy maniac that specializes in explosives, but I would say that is an understatement, as Mr. Junkrat is the only person who engineered an explosive that destroys vault doors and can do some serious damage to his enemies, yet he always leaves the scene unharmed. Beat that, smart dwarf. He is also an owner of a badass bike that totally fits his character and helps him travel from any place around the world back to Australia somehow. That would be all for the story part, but it isn't, because Blizzard, please fix the Javelin skin issue, has provided us with an ungodly gift from the heavens, a second Roadhog and Junkrat cinematic. This one is focused less on the story side of things, but more on the politics.
Well, there's 2 things that solve every problem. Money and explosives.
And the funny.
I've got an idea!
What can I say? This animation is a pure masterpiece. It describes our 2 characters in the most fitting goofy field. I also love how somehow Blizzard has made this skin that looks totally bonkers canon to the game in lore. In short, we see the brave mastermind Junkrat in action, where he comes up with a beautiful plan that was discussed with his partner in a questionable way, but an optimal way nonetheless. They prepare for the plan, and shock, it works, but it fails, in the last possible moment due to Junkrat's inner voices. They tell him to do things that he really doesn't want to do. Oh goddammit, my team is losing, I should go and help them.
No, you must wait for someone coming from spawn to step into your trap and kill him, so he waits another 8 seconds to respawn.
Anyways, the plan fails, they get thrown out, and we get the coldest one-liner in the entire Overwatch universe.
Idiot.
huge.
Just by looking at these two, you can clearly tell they have romantic, not so straight actions every night. Design! I don't know if you could tell, it wasn't that obvious so far, but Junkrat is designed around explosives. The main thing you will see throughout your playtime with him, and wow, that sounds very kinky, is his iconic frog launcher. I'll go over his abilities and weapons more in detail in the next segment, but now let's focus on pure looks and impressions for this guy. Everything he wears, uses, or simply has looks like it's damaged and quickly fixed up, or not even fixed at all. The equipment doesn't look new or even safe. You could say that it's junk. All of it is made by him and his bare hands. I mean, hand. He actually has one missing and replaced the second one with a robotic prosthetic that he probably stole. He also wears a prosthetic leg in the form of a stick, similar to what classy pirates have. Not sure how he lost either the arm or the leg, but I'm sure there was a good reason for it, or just an unlucky accident.
Come on, Jamison, cut your leg off. I promise you it will be funny.
I'm not sure about this one.
Don't you want the wacky stick screwed to your knee for the rest of your life?
Well, seems legit. Here I go. What is most important, our Junker friend is filled with joy. He has a need to express it with slapping on a big ol' smiling face on everything he has. He is so happy to be here with us, and blowing stuff up just makes him even happier. He also likes to laugh a lot, which is a very healthy behavior for a 25-year-old. Everyone I met that was at the age of 25 or above laughs manically when blowing stuff up. You are lying if you say you wouldn't be happy to drive a bouncy and spiky tire around filled with dynamite and detonating it next to 5 people. Oh, hold on a second, I think the police are knocking on my door again. Lastly, I'll mention the biggest change that was brought along with the release of Overwatch 2. He finally put his hair out. The hair are no longer on fire, guys. This is huge. Gameplay. Arcing projectiles, versatile mines, sneaky traps, and a remote ultimate sounds confusing and difficult to control. Yet, all of that is very simple to understand and get better at. Huge emphasis on the word simple and better. I never said it was easy. Are you happy now? Let's start with something very simple. An exercise that you can do by yourself or with your family. Suicide bombing. In-game, of course, calm down. Someone from the designing team, while creating Junkrat, said in a meeting, "Hey, what if we put 6 explosive anal beads into Junkrat's anus?" And then the team director responded, "Wow, Tommy, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Here's a promotion and my paycheck." The same guy would then go on to design and create Sombra. Back to the topic. The passive ability Total Mayhem causes Junkrat to drop 6 grenades on the floor where he died. Those tiny balls can deal at max a whopping 300 damage. That's like 300 damage more than an average Sombra at the end of the match. Okay, also, dying to those pesky poops happens way too often. You would think a player would learn after 500 hours of playing this game that this one particular character, upon death, creates a small minefield where he died. Nope. Players till this day die to his diarrhea explosive. And not gonna lie, it is pretty funny when it happens.
Come on, Jamison, you already put 5 balls up your ass. Why stop there? I promise you it will be worth it at the end.
The worst part is you can't even be mad when it happens. The player just died, and dying to his death just makes you look like an idiot. Surprise, surprise, but Junkrat has some other abilities too, other than just dying. Next we have the frag launcher I previously mentioned. It's his primary weapon, and it couldn't be a simpler weapon to use. You shoot out arcing grenades that can bounce a couple of times, or they explode themselves after some time. They also do explode instantly upon hitting enemy targets, so you actually might want to aim a little. Direct hits deal 120 damage, and they also do some splash damage if they happen to explode next to your targets. Also, can we admire for a second how satisfying his reload animation is? Okay, thanks. Speaking of reloading, he has 5 bombs in his magazine to go through. There's absolute no reason why you shouldn't always empty your magazine. You are wasting potential damage that will somehow, in the most paranormal way possible, hit your target directly. Also, don't forget that due to the arcing nature of your projectiles, you can easily abuse lines of sight and fire huge amounts of damage without even peeking your toe. This requires decent map knowledge, which shockingly increases his skill ceiling. Go cry about it in the comments. A great addition to his arsenal are his Concussion Mines. These are throwable objects that stick stick to any surface they hit. You can detonate them any moment you want, so no need to wait for them to land on a surface or appear on your screen. They do between 30 and 100 damage, and if you do the math correctly, you can quickly notice a very lethal combo. Your primary direct hit shot will do 120 damage, and you can finish off most of your targets with the mine that you don't even need to hit directly to do enough damage. This is the most important thing in Junkrat's kit to learn right after mine jumping. You can also use your mines as a personal trampoline. Depending on the place of the detonation, you can gather lots of height or quickly hop forward. It is very versatile and useful to get to positions that will be very difficult for your enemies to deal with and very easy for you to abuse. You can also do the boring way of using those mines, which is setting up traps. The mines do not disappear after placing them, so you can patiently wait for your prey to come to you. And to set up an even more evil prank, why not make use of our next ability? The steel trap is another object in Junkrat's arsenal that doesn't disappear after placing it. When you place it, it will actively wait for an enemy to step in it. When they do, they get stopped for 2.5 seconds and take 100 damage. The trap and the mine are enough to kill most of the heroes in the game, so you can set up your pranks even on the other side of the map, and you still could kill them with ease. Enemies can also destroy your trap if they spot it, but it's a little bit more difficult for them because on their screen the trap is a little bit lower than it appears on your screen. Shockingly, this ability is only on a 10 seconds cooldown, so don't be scared to throw them randomly in the general direction of your enemies. If it gets destroyed, it served its purpose as a distraction. If it isn't destroyed, it will act as a constant threat and potential 100 damage bomb, with bonus root on top of that. Now that we went through all the boring stuff, it is time we talk about, without a doubt, the most fun ultimate in the game. Upon casting it, your soul is transferred to a tire with spikes. With this tire, it's easier to describe what you can't do than what you can. Climbing walls, crazy responsive movement, high jump, air control, silencing, and most importantly, the boom. This ability can do from 50 up to 600 damage. Beware, because you must act quick. You are only granted 10 seconds of potential setup for your boom. Make every second count. Enemies can hear when you launch your tire, and they can hear it roaring from a distance, so play it smart. Don't go straight away for your prey. Instead, make them paranoid. Give them a horror game experience, without knowing when the tire will come and where will it come from. Utilize to the maximum potential the wall climbing, strafing, and jumping to make your tire impossible to hit. Just make sure they don't break it. It's better to detonate it early than to not detonate it at all. Also take notes and potentially wait out vital abilities that can counter your explosion. Some examples being Kiriko's Suzu, god I hate Suzu, Reaper's Ray Form, Moira's Fade, and many more things like that. Also, shields. Yeah, shields will work against you. Combining all the things that I mentioned before, you can become an aggressive sewer rat. This playstyle requires you to utilize every choky space and become the guardian of the said space. This strategy isn't something I endorse, but it's the most effective way to play Junkrat. You know I'm right when pro players who are way better than me play this way. Find yourself a corridor where your enemies will have to go through or at least pass, bait them in by shooting from cool angles, and when they do come for you, play your distance and line of sight correctly so you can output guaranteed damage while avoiding enemies' fire. Closed spaces are super good for Junk because you have a significantly lower chance of missing, and as we previously mentioned, the direct hit does a whopping 120 damage, so landing your entire magazine can even defeat some tanks. Make sure you use your mines to escape sticky situations, and remember to place traps to know if the enemies are coming and to try to trap them. But let's not lie here, you aren't here because you want to be a sewer rat, are you? You are here to be the master chef, the 5-star restaurant owner, who will be able to cook. Rats, as we know, have a very small chance to be a very good chef, and when they are allowed to do anything they want, they can destroy the biggest of haters. So sometimes it is good to let yourself go. Just do whatever you want to do because the mines can act as a safety net in case something goes wrong. Other than that, you can be an aggressive threat to anyone that is in the enemy team by unpredictably shooting in random directions. You can be the best defender of all time and just make sure you have fun. Junkrat is one of the most fun characters in the game, so don't limit yourself to just holding down chokes. Do that double mine jump, throw random traps, and just experience what Junk is capable of. In case people try to stop you because your playstyle isn't optimal for your team, just, if you play Junkrat, Try to feel like Junkrat. Get in the zone of pure maniacal destruction. Don't be afraid to stick out your tongue while driving the tire and motivate yourself with one word.
Arson.
Conclusion! Junkrat must be one of my favorite heroes in the game, and you should totally subscribe. He might be broken, but I don't care. If I did, there would be a video about his balancing on this channel already. His kid has a massive personality disorder where you can be the guardian of compact spaces, the crazy air bombardier, or the strongest on possible defense. Landing projectiles for me will always be more satisfying than just shooting people with hitscan guns. So not only we have the fun factor in this guy, but also a pleasing experience. You don't even need to be good at the game to do well with this hero, but trust me when I say getting better at him is mega rewarding. This is a very positive review overall, and the only bad thing about him is that the usual spammy nature of his playstyle might sometimes be unrewarding and boring for both sides. So with that in mind, I give Junkremy a score of 5 avocados out of 7 pears. Before we end the video, a friendly reminder to comment down below what hero would you like me to review next. Thank you so much for hitting 600 subscribers milestone, only 999,400 to go, and as always, thanks for watching, have a lovely day. Bye bye.